guys, Ray from Whimsical Pictures here, bringing you my very late manga haul for June 2017. This month came a lot of very anticipated new releases, so it was a very exciting month for me. A lot of these I haven't read yet because basically the ones that I got after Manga Hoarder and Shelf Space Fleeting announced they would be doing a manga readathon next week. I have decided to put off reading until then, so that should be a lot of fun, but as a result, I may not know much about these titles yet. Certainly you'll be able to find a lot more detailed information when I do a wrap-up for that readathon, but yeah. So first, starting right off the bat with one of my most anticipated releases of the year. This is my only Kodansha book for the month. This is Volume 1 of Land of the Lustrous by Haruko Ichikawa. This is a seinen manga with a premise that may be familiar to anyone who's seen a particular Western cartoon. You can see it mentioned on the back there even. This is about a species of genderless alien gems. So they all have names, like Phosphophyllite is the main character. And they're fighting a war against a, I think, unnamed enemy that may or may not be humanity. That's really all I know about it. I've been very interested in it for the same reason as a lot of people, which is this beautiful art style. The color pages in particular are gorgeous, but as you can see, the art inside is interesting and evocative, very atmospheric, and really unlike anything else, and has a bit of a retro vibe to it as well. It reminds me of some of the sci-fi work of like Shotaro Ishinomori or Keiko Takemiya, which of course I'm always down for that art style, so cannot wait to read this. Gonna be reading it during the readathon. Next we have from smaller publisher Pantheon Books, Volume 1 of 2 of My Brother's Husband by Gengoro Tagame. I got this right at the beginning of the month, so I read this quite a while ago. But this is the story of Yaichi here, who is a single Japanese father, whose twin brother has recently passed away, and his twin brother had moved to Canada. He's estranged from Yaichi, and he had moved to Canada in order to marry his husband, Mike, who is Canadian. And basically this occurs sort of shortly after the funeral of the twin brother. Mike comes to stay with Yaichi and his daughter Kana, just in order to sort of learn a bit about his, what his husband's life was like before he met Mike. And, get to know the family a little bit more and reminisce a little bit with them. And through that we sort of get, Yaichi, who has some openly homophobic beliefs, and Kana, who's just never really heard of this stuff before, but is actually very excited about it. She thinks it's so cool that she has, a Canadian uncle she never knew about. She can tell all of her friends at school about. She's absolutely precious, the heart and soul of this book, by the way. She's so cute. Look at her. Oh, there's comments on the back from Alison Bechtel and Anderson Cooper, of all people, which is great. But yeah, it's about them sort of learning about gay issues from Mike, as well as, just learning about, Yaichi's brother, and Yaichi realizing that, maybe he became estranged from his brother due to some prejudices he didn't know that he had. And this is a beautiful book. Obviously an extremely important work by a very well-known gay komi mangaka who is a gay man himself. I love the end papers too. This is a very solidly put together hardcover, and I really like the smaller size a lot. So, yeah. Obviously, I highly recommend this. Some of the art inside. I think it's very important. And it's just a great slice of life title if you like things like Barakamon or Sweetness and Lightning or Yotsuba. You will definitely love this, so check it out. Next, another anticipated release. This one is a one-shot from Seven Seas. My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness by Nagata Kabi. This story started out as a webcomic memoir posted to that unholy hell pit of Pixiv. And it really does sort of fall into the genre of webcomic memoirs that has been sort of very common on the internet lately. The art inside is very cute. Doesn't really look like what you think of when you think of manga. It really does look more like what you would expect from a webcomic. But this was, of course, later sort of discovered by a publisher who found it on Pixiv, and it got published into a single volume, and now it is available in English. This was marketed by Seven Seas as a Yuri title, about sort of her encounter with a lesbian escort agency, but the fact that she is a lesbian really is sort of very peripheral to the story that she's telling. Like, yes, she is a lesbian, but what she's really dealing with here, and wanting to talk about, is her struggles with depression and anxiety, an eating disorder, and her sort of issues with intimacy and struggling with her relationship with her parents, and just sort of being lost and confused in the world of young adulthood. And it's almost too relatable. So funny it hurts at times. But I didn't find it to be as hard to read as some folks have. I thought it was a very easy to read. I found her to be a compelling narrator, very sort of funny, sort of awkward, and kind of looking back on herself from a more perhaps self-aware perspective, even if she hasn't, you know, totally healed at this point. You know, she's still looking back from a older and wiser perspective on a very dark part of her recent past. I really enjoyed this. I think it is well worth picking up. It's a very interesting book too, since it does have the sort of three tones, white, black, and pink. It was good. I do actually have a review of this filmed and waiting to upload, so that will be up soon if you'd like to hear more about this title. Next, from Vertical, we have Volume 7 of Devil's Line. I did do a review of Volumes 1 through 7 of this series, so definitely check that out. Just as I say every time a new volume of this comes out, this is my favorite volume yet, and I continue to absolutely love it. Please read Devil's Line. And finally, we have a big ol' stack of Viz. And the first one is actually a book. And this is going to be perfect for the readathon, as there is a category for reading a nonfiction book that is about some aspect of manga. And this is exactly that. This is Hirohiko Araki's Manga in Theory and Practice. I'm really happy that they designed this book to go perfectly with the JoJonium volumes, so that is where this is going to rest once I finish reading it for the readathon. This is sort of his, just what the title says, his sort of theories and his ideas and tips for becoming a mangaka and getting good at creating manga. The secrets to his success, if you will. And the only thing I'm really disappointed about with this release is that the original, like, Japanese cover for this book is that very famous illustration of Araki himself hugging his author insert character from JoJo's, Rohan Kishibe. I have him right here. And it's, like, amazing, but it's not included anywhere in here. Like, I'm fine that they didn't use it as the cover, but they didn't, like, include it in here, and they should have. I really want Rohan x Araki, please. But, oh well. Ultimately a small disappointment. Very excited to read that. Next we have another one that I am saving for the readathon. This is Volume 1 of After Hours, which is Viz's first foray into Yuri. Excited about this for two reasons. One, it's a Yuri title about adult characters who are like 24. One of them is like a DJ, which I think is super cool. So I'm very excited to read it because we rarely get Yuri that is not set in a fucking high school. The other reason is because this series runs in Hibane, which is unfortunately going under, but that is the successor magazine to Iki. So if you've read any of Viz's Sig Iki titles, those are titles from this magazine's predecessor. And this series also runs Shimanami Tasogare, which is one of the absolute best LGBTQ comics I've ever read. So I'm quite excited to see if this also contains, you know, a really nice nuanced portrayal of lesbian issues. We shall see. But I am excited. I do like the art style inside as well. It's cute, but also quite different from what I usually expect to see from a Yuri comic. And so, yeah, can't wait. And then, because I was buying two Viz titles, and I, you know, they were having the buy two get the third free sale, I decided to pick up just a third one, because it would be free, and that's just Dawn of the Arcana Volume 4. Slowly working through collecting the rest of the series. It is a series that I really, really enjoyed, as I've mentioned multiple times before. So, yeah, working on getting the rest. And next, we have sort of the last anticipated new release, which is Volume 1 of Golden Kamui by Satoru Noda. This is sort of a story about this soldier from the Russo-Japanese War, who is known as the Immortal Sugimoto because he just, no matter how many times he gets beat up or shot, he never seems to die. And now, in the immediate post-war time, he is dying to get rich, and having failed to secure any money from the gold rush, he hears about this Ainu treasure that's supposed to be hidden somewhere, and decides to go after it, along with an Ainu girl named Asurpa. See if I can find her. Yeah. Who is seeking revenge and to keep the treasure for the Ainu people. The cover's really cool. I love that it has a bear on the back. Asurpa is basically the best thing ever. She's so great. And this series, it's definitely in that vein of sort of over-the-top, hyper-violent machismo as, like, the Temple of Doom. And I absolutely loved every page of this. This is exactly the kind of, like, ultra-macho adventure story that I just love. And I love that it has an Ainu protagonist. The only other, like, Ainu protagonist I can think of in anime or manga, like, off the top of my head is Prince Ashitaka from Princess Mononoke. So it's really nice to have Asurpa here. So far, the series, despite its genre and sort of pulpy premise, has been very respectful of her culture. And I just kind of want to be in a constant state of reading this series now. So I can't wait for volume 2. I might end up just buying a bunch of these volumes in Japanese because I really like it. Next, we just have volume 13 of Tokyo Ghoul. This one I'm saving for the readathon as well. I think I'm 2 volumes behind on Tokyo Ghoul. So, yeah, need to catch up. It's just so sad at this point in the series that I'm like, do I really want to feel depressed right now? But, I'm sure as soon as I read it, I will love it. 1 volume left, and then we'll be getting into Re, so that's exciting. Next we have, once again, another one I'm saving for the readathon. This is The Water Dragon's Bride, Volume 2, also by the creator of Dawn of the Arcana, Rei Toma. I loved Volume 1, so I absolutely cannot wait to read this. And finally, for new stuff, we have Volume 6 of Yona of the Dawn by Mizuho Kusanagi. Loved this volume. I love Yona of the Dawn. I feel like I need to just not talk about it too much because I'll just go on and on. But this was my favorite arc from the anime, which is the pirate arc, so excited to read more of that. I think the next volume is going to be the end of the pirate arc. And then we'll be getting into totally new territory, which I'm very excited about. This cover's really cute, too. I love Shinga, he's so cute. And then for used stuff, we have 1 full series and 1 random thing. Random thing first, I found from the used bookstore this little diary that's so cute. It has Ojipio-san here, who is, you know, feeling very overworked. And inside, it just has, like, for each day, a whole bunch of different prompts. Like, you know, talk about a dream you had recently, happy things that happened, what's a secret you're keeping, let's see, sad things, you know, stuff like this. And I just thought that this would be something super cute and fun to write in every day in Japanese, to just sort of talk about my day and practice my Japanese in a little diary form, and this seemed perfect for it because of the little prompts and just the fact that I couldn't leave something this cute in the store. And yeah. Finally, we have a full series, volumes 1 through 8, that I have been wanting to get my hands on forever. This is a Josei series. Definitely in the vein of, like, Midnight Secretary or Happy Marriage. It's not the deepest thing in the world, is what I'm saying. But this is Butterflies Flowers by Yuki Yoshihara. This is about this sort of disgraced noblewoman whose family went bankrupt, and now she's working as an office lady. And her boss is a total tyrant, except when they're not at work. He treats her like, you know, an absolute lady. And one time he accidentally slips and calls her my lady. And she's like, oh my gosh, this is the servant boy that I had when I was a child. And yeah, so, it's definitely in the vein of more like Harlequin type Josei manga. But, basically, this is trash directly from that dumpster made specifically for me. And so I expect to very much enjoy this, with my primitive lizard brain. I also really like these covers. So, like this little thing on the back. Yeah, it's an 8-volume series, and the used bookstore had all 8. This series is quite out of print, so I was very happy to find that. especially since they're all in quite good condition. They're not even yellowed. So yeah, can't wait to read that. This will fulfill a couple of the challenges for the readathon, so I'm excited to just like binge read all of it. Maybe with like a glass of wine. So that's what I got this month. The new and the old. I hopefully will be vlogging to you from Japan in the near future, as I only have 12 days left in this country. So, yeah. That is crazy to say, but it's true. So, I hope you guys will follow me there, and see you for the next video. And until then, happy reading!